Dear viewers, hope you are well. My today's talk is about human suffering. What is suffering? Suffering is defined as distress resulting from threat or damage to one's body or self-identity. Suffering is universal. All creation in this world suffer in various ways. Depression, anxiety, grief, and existential sufferings are mental suffering. Suffering is mental, physical, and social. Humans spend much of life suffering or trying to avoid suffering. Psychologists have identified 8 frames for suffering. These frames are suffering as punishment, suffering as reward, suffering as craving, suffering as sacrifice, suffering as natural destiny, suffering as manageable, relief of suffering as human purpose, and lastly, relief of suffering as progress in quality of life. Examples of physical sufferings are pain, illness, disability, hunger, poverty, and death. Examples of mental sufferings are grief, hatred, frustration, heartbreak, guilt, humiliation, anxiety, loneliness, and self-pity. Suffering and negative quality of life have a lot in common. Understanding perceptions of people's desired life, desired relief of suffering requires that we distinguish their own suffering from suffering of others important to them. Mr. Ronald E. Anderson wrote a book titled Human Suffering and Quality of Life. I am reading something from his topic: Inequality, Income Segregation, and World Suffering. He wrote, "For many years, scholars and others have warned of the negative consequences of income and wealth-based inequality, as the gap between the rich and poor has continued to spike upwards. In the past 10 years, the warning continue, and the widespread Occupy movement gave the problem much wider visibility." Epidemiologists Walsman Smith 1998 and more recently Kawase 2002 highlighted how greater income inequality is associated with higher mortality rates, especially among the very young and older age groups. Their findings are that the effect is generated primarily by the residential segregation caused by income inequality. In the United States, income inequality is intertwined with and sometimes responsible for intense racial segregation. Economist Frank in 2007 provided evidence that inequality launches expenditure cascades that, through social comparison processes, perpetuate excessive and compulsive consumption, which drives even greater inequality. Frank argues that not only these socio-economic processes undermine concern for the welfare of others, but it increases vulnerability, financial risks, and unhappiness of those caught in the trap of keeping up with Jones. No more today. Thanks for watching the video.